story that I heard yesterday. Yeah, it goes the headlines, man. They all just go to plan. They're framed and fixed and rigged. You know they're all just spam. So buckle down, plug right in, and close its way under your skin. Just got found from the things they spout, and it won't make you shout. Give me that good news, because I'm tired of the same old shit. That good news, because I'm tired of the same old shit.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the job. The grounds with
The
Giles
job.
Jones. The job. I'm asleep. I'm so
Slagle,
tired.
Jones,
Yeah.
and Giles. Giles, Jones, Slagle,
Yeah.
Giles, Slagle, Jones.
Give me another opportunity here. I'm awake
Yeah,
now. But
that's-
hey, welcome to the grounds with Giles and Jones.
That's
I'm Giles, he's Jones, and this is Slagle, the most unique show on the internet where we talk about everything from peanut butter to politics, but no politics.
Yeah, and
'cause
that's
we know
what-
where that ends.
And of course, there's Uncle Pete right there. Throw that right up in your URL. Join the show. Be part of it. Most unique show here at 21.6 and of course, big shout out to our good friends over at Natural Therapy Wellness. Natural Therapy Wellness. If you need a massage, you got to work some things out, some knots in your calves or whatever.
Just want to relax.
Oh, these guys do it. Check them out at www.mchenrymassage.com or give them a call at 815-385-8190. And
right there in downtown McHenry. Why can't I not
down-
think of the road?
downtown.
Downtown,
Right there,
like
downtown.
basically
Right
120 in the river, you know?
Yeah, right
go
down
check
there.
'em
Eh?
out.
And
Get that knot out of your back.
that's right. And then we gotta, after you get your massage, run over to JH Flowers and Events and grab yourself a $5 bouquet or more.
Right.
I mean, you can spend more than $5, but you want to brighten up somebody's weekend. Listen, when Sam, Steve's wife, bought him a $5 bouquet of flowers, he was giddy as a schoolgirl. And it was-
isn't that
I still
nice?
have butterflies thinking about it.
That's nice. So did you do the dishes then too?
I always do the dishes.
And when I say schoolgirl or whatever the pronoun is, I don't know.
I actually had my first one business card the other day. Or email. It was his, he, him. I was like,
Very
okay.
good.
So
Yeah.
that's protein, not Gino.
Yeah.
But, it's just interesting. First one ever, surprisingly for me.
Yeah.
And I was excited to get that.
Used to do a lot of work with the schools. They changed over about a year and a half.
Did they?
Yep.
My name's Scott, and that's all you're gonna get.
There you go. So today, founder or pirate? So Christopher Columbus, as we all know,
Sir.
is the alleged founder of America.
I thought you said legend.
A legend.
A legend. A legend.
A legend. Right?
I mean, he is a legend.
And
Well, right. Is he?
and the question was posed to Steve and I a few weeks ago, maybe now a month ago, when you were out in Galena, I think, about Christopher Columbus. Did he really found America, or was he just a pirate that happened to be looting and came across a place to loot?
Well, so what you're saying, he just accidentally fell onto us trying to steal?
Well, we
from
know
people?
he accidentally did, right?
Right. But I mean, that
Yeah.
wasn't his original.
But the
mission
story,
was to
the
find-
story is interesting to me.
It is fascinating.
Yeah.
I mean, so in a lot of ways. So we look at growing up, we were taught Christopher Columbus, founder of America.
We have a day,
the
Columbus
Nina, the
Day.
Pinta, the
Yeah,
Santa
Columbus
Maria.
Day. Yeah, he got on the ship.
1492.
The Mayflower.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sailed the ocean blue.
Yeah.
And
And that was their mission, from what I was taught. Right, their mission was to go out and find a new world.
they were so.
Was it?
At the time, he was trying to establish trade with India, which is why they called them Indians,
Correct.
instead of Native Americans.
Yes.
But I mean, he did a lot more than just found land on America. A lot of things he did leading up to that and after that that weren't so great. That weren't. I mean, we celebrate him. We have a holiday for him. We get off school. We're taught and then for some reason in schools we are taught that he's this big hero. He was wearing a cape and he went and addressed the Queen of Spain and was like, I need your funds because I have this expedition to settle a new world. And that's what we're taught, which wasn't entirely true or really at all true, because he did. He was a guy that needed money to go try to establish trade at that point in history.
What we say establish trade?
Yeah, I mean, we mean that, go get as many spices and valuables as you can.
Correct.
By any means necessary.
Yeah, by any means.
By
Any means necessary. And what I think is, first and foremost, I just want to get this part out of the way. This is what my biggest grievance is. He landed on Hispaniola. Okay. Do you know?
Eric, good morning, brother. Eric says, good morning. On my mind lately, humans need things to look forward to. Vacation for us next week. You guys? P.S. Chris Columbus is a sizzle, not steak.
I'll sizzle, no steak. So now, do you know, so to decimate a population technically means to reduce that population to 1/10 of its original size. Decimate, right?
Well,
so people are always like, he decimated Hispaniola. No, he didn't. If he decimated Hispaniola, there would be 6 times as many people left over when he was done. He more than decimated it. There is he reduced the indigenous peoples, the Taino peoples, 500 indigenous left. 500. That was it in the Bahamas. Now, which is to say nothing about the Caribs, which are a different people. He also.
Why didn't I understand this in school?
No, it's the picture that the victor paints.
Right.
So history is always told by the winning side.
That's right.
So if you listen,
well, that only makes sense because the losing side is not around probably anymore.
That's exactly it.
That's it.
And I mean, and when I say that, like he didn't just like come in and be like, hey, you guys need to go. And they're like, okay, we're going to go peacefully. And there's only going to be 500 of us left.
Good morning, Don.
Don just said the same thing. The winner gets to tell the truth.
But rape, slavery, I mean, the fact that over 50,000 indigenous committed suicide to get away from what was happening with this guy.
Alleged suicide.
I was going to say, you're blowing me away. I feel like everything they told me in school now is a lie.
Alleged suicide.
I mean, first off, I didn't know America was lost, that he had to find it.
Alleged suicide,
Discovered
Mrs.
it,
Clinton.
right?
Yeah.
Right.
It's alleged suicide, Mrs. Clinton. Anyway,
but all of that happened before he even got to what we know as America.
Well, so here's now again, if we take a look at Independence Day, we weren't trying to free ourselves from the Spanish,
right?
So there's some points in there that we gloss over. We go from Christopher Columbus to Independence Day, but here's what I'm thinking: 1492, we pretty much thought that the world was flat. So I think that Christopher Columbus lost a few bets, maybe didn't want to get put in the guillotine, whatever the case may be. And they're like, you get a boat.
Yeah.
And you go. If you can bring back your bounty, then we'll think about keeping you alive. But you know what? You're basically going to fall off the face of the earth because it's flat.
Yeah.
And so he just sets out sailing and, it's like, I got to find some loot if I ever want to make it back, or I'm going to fall off the edge of the earth. And he just kind of sails for a month. I don't know how long it took to get from there in those days with clipper ships, right? Probably a month or two.
It's a long, arduous journey.
Yeah.
1492. There's no fresh produce. You're getting scurvy. I mean, it's a rough.
It's gross.
Voyage.
And then all of a sudden, land. And there's that oh shit moment, like, did we turn around?
right.
Right?
Going the right way.
And then all of a sudden, you come and there's the Native Americans, as we call them now, and then all of a sudden it's well, this is strange.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, I got to get the loot. So what? You don't understand me? I'm gonna stab you with my bayonet.
And I feel like the first thing they all noticed was the lack of bedazzled pants.
Lack of bedazzled pants. That's right.
They looked around and they were like,
Shayna.
not one of these.
That's why he was not accepted.
Not one of
he
these
didn't have
sailors
the proper
had
attire.
That's exactly
Not
it.
proper attire.
If he had bedazzled pants, he would have been a lot friendlier
Yeah.
No
Shayna,
Jules to show off what's happening.
Shayna says, morning, fellas. If you're about to tie the programming of children in the public schools, it's getting people to believe anything. It's getting obvious at this point. Follow the money. And
Shayna's picked up my lovely statement. Follow the money.
And
Follow the money.
Eric,
That's how you can answer pretty much any question you have.
yeah, he
This
definitely.
world,
You know what? He probably had a bedazzled coat, not pants.
Okay.
I think.
I would imagine
Good
him
morning.
with a big Commodore hat with
Yeah.
a big feather, you know?
The pimp daddy.
Yeah.
Pimp.
Yeah, to let everybody know,
P-I-M-P.
I'm not just the captain of this ship, but also that one and that one and that one.
And then those are my women now. That's why I said land ho.
Hey. Don says, question, how do we decide what version of history to believe? Long time ago, and I think we know we don't always get the truth. Man on the moon. Anyway,
I think the version everyone accepts is the one that makes better sense to them for whatever reason, right? I mean,
yeah.
I believe differently than some because of one, what I was told, and two, what I've read up on. Obviously, you have dove much deeper, and you're kind of blowing my mind right now. I really want to go back to my grade school teachers and be like, what the fuck?
Well, so that's what's
You're
crazy.
setting me up here.
What's crazy for me is it was I would say 10th grade maybe, right? So up until 10th grade, you're getting one version, and then I was junior, senior in high school, and I had a guy, a great teacher, and he would like laugh at the book, and he'd be like, I don't even know why they print these, and we were all like, what are you talking about? It's the first time anybody had said any of this to me, and I was like, that's outrageous. And then moving on to college, they were like, oh yeah, he was just the worst.
So here's the, and I'm gonna spin it this way, and I think Christopher Columbus was. This is just my opinion.
What is your opinion?
And never and as Shayna says, never assume sense has much to do with an opinion. So here's my opinion. Is I think Christopher Columbus was a pirate. I think he was a bad dude, right? I think he got sentenced to fall off the edge of the earth, stumbled across to this nation, right? This land here, right? Didn't even know because it's really kind of in the Bahamas, and he's like, I don't know, well, I guess we got to get out of here. And he started floating north, and all of a sudden he's like, wait, what's this?
Yeah,
right. There's more, right? Well, wait, there's more.
Wow.
But America is the best. I'll go this way. America is a great marketing tool. Land of the free, home of the brave. We have to be the victors. Well, it wasn't the UK that found it. We can't, the redcoats can't. I don't know. These guys really didn't, but they came over and said, "Oh, okay, cool. We've got a place now, and let's go get it." Right? Well, stick a flag in it and call it ours, the moon. And the idea is that all of a sudden, all of a sudden now,
so sly.
If I'm going to market, hey, we've got to populate this area. I've got to have a marketing, so it has to have this cool story. It's like, hey, look, Chris, he came over and it was awesome, and he found it, and now it's America,
own a piece of heaven for a small price,
but at the same time we go, oh yeah, he found it, so he ate with the Indian people. Well, did he bring those too?
Did he eat with them or did he eat them?
You know what I mean? It's like, but so I wasn't the first guy here, but I found it.
Well, so that's what's always gotten me over these years is like
for the American people.
He discovered America. According to who? He landed and immediately engaged with the indigenous peoples. They discovered they were there.
Right. It was just a choice of words. He discovered a new land to live in. He didn't
from the perspective of the victor.
Right,
yeah.
Right. Well, right.
Yeah.
He discovered a new land for them to live in. Didn't say that I had to push other people out. It's like me saying, hey, I discovered this really kick-ass house.
Yeah.
Right. And so I decided to make it mine. I didn't say I kicked the other people out, threatened to murder them. Right. Or murdered them. Said, this is my house now, bitch.
Allegedly.
Out.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Yeah. Squatters' rights. Squatters' rights.
Right. I mean, and you don't know. So every story can be twisted to what makes better sense at the time and for what person or, population it's being told to. Yeah. I mean, fuck, they duped me if that's really the case. I mean, I thought he was just this upstanding dude that, was trying to make a better life for everybody.
Survived the scurvy.
Survived the scurvy, right? Make a better life. Now I start hearing all this stuff. I'm going, son of a bitch, what in my childhood was not a lie?
Right. Well, it's not necessarily,
Let me rephrase
not
it.
necessarily a lie.
What
It's
in
the
my
twist.
childhood teaching of schools was not
Hey,
blended to what I should believe because
listen,
somebody wanted me to believe it.
the other thing, Scott, is Batman and Robin were not walking up the side of the wall. It was just the angle of the camera.
Come on, man, you're killing me here.
You're forgetting about his utility belt.
Yeah,
I had
The
one of those
batarang
as a
shoots
kid.
out and
Right.
then they climb.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, notice that in their hair is falling this way
Right,
instead of that
right,
way. Little idiosyncrasy things you don't think about until you really start to dissect it.
Yeah. So truthfully, this guy pillaged, raped. He was a pirate.
Mhm.
He's everything of a pirate. He had a pirate crew. I'm guessing at that time, maybe the other ships that were there too, were like bad guys, and they're like, yeah,
Yeah.
away you go and never come back. And then he's like, huh, well, I made it, and now I've got all these. What are we going to call it? And I found it.
I found it.
It's mine, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, we go, man, take a look at us throughout history. We love the bad guy.
Yeah.
How could this guy be a hero? I
Right.
mean, we Don Gotti, Scarface, you know what I mean? You name it, we love the villain, right? That's who we
Always.
love.
Well, it's
Yep.
a good story to tell.
The underdog,
Right.
right?
Right.
And now we gotta paint this guy as,
Yeah.
you know, he's
Good for the red, white, and blue. Best for us.
Right.
Yeah, right.
right.
Well, he discovered the new land and he founded it. He definitely didn't found it. Right. Because it wasn't lost.
Right.
He just said, "This is good. I'm gonna state like when you founded your business. I'm stating today, this is the United States of America's place because I want it." And you
Shayna
can't
says,
tell me no.
and kids, if you're listening, kids, go back to bed. How many of our kids learned of Santa from someone trusted? Santa's an idea, much like America.
Santa's also a belief, like believing in something you can't see, is what I was originally the meaning behind
It's
it.
Satan if you
Well, just
rearrange the
believing,
letters.
Yes.
believing in something
If
you
you're
can't see,
dyslexic.
feel in touch, right?
Don says, interesting. I heard something new, so the old thing must be a lie. I just ask, how do we know the new thing is not the lie? In my honest opinion, some truth in both. Normally the case. I don't. When it comes to what you learn as a child, right? Is it's kind of blind faith or belief, I guess.
Mhm.
Right? Because we don't know, right?
Well, I mean, let's say in your case that you are right, and he was a horrible pirate. Right?
oh, absolutely.
Right? Well, why would they want to tell? Well, there was this horrible man that decided he got kicked out of his country on a ship. All of a sudden, found these indigenous people, and he decided I didn't like them. I wanted your land, so he killed them to get into it. So, if you really want anything out of life, guys, just go for it and take it from somebody else.
Yeah.
End of story, right? I mean,
Well, and and like, yes, of course, there's going to be truth to a lot of different things, but a lot of different perspectives, even to this situation. But I mean, hundreds of years of records and forensic anthropology has told us that this is pretty much exactly what Columbus did. I mean, we do know this as scientific fact.
Yeah.
So many bones that they had to pour through, or 50,000 human remains that were discovered and
scurvy.
and
Well, listen,
had to be processed.
Here's the deal. He probably wasn't even the captain of the ship. He happened to be the strongest one to survive. It might have been a ship full of
possibly.
prisoners, right? And by the time we end up here, he's established, killed enough people on the boat, thrown them over, whatever, to establish himself as I'm the
Dominant.
man.
Dominance. Yeah.
Dominance.
Mess with me, and you go bye-bye.
Yeah.
It's
Right?
possible.
Yeah.
I mean, it would definitely be interesting to know what it was happening, but you know what I mean?
I mean,
What
maybe
really happened.
maybe it set out as a sex cruise. I don't know. I don't know what happened,
We
right?
need to repopulate someplace. This is
You know?
Swingers cruise. That's why we got
Swingers
the
cruise.
Pinta and the Santa Maria.
Right, you know what I'm saying?
Boats and hoes.
That's it. And yes, Eric, I
You got that one.
yeah, that's it. God.
The Nina, the Pinta, my dad's boat.
That's and Eric, yes, I do remember The Greatest American Hero. That was a great TV because he cruised around he had the RV, right? Was that, or was that Shazam? That was Shazam, maybe. I don't know. Shayna says Santa is a belief, not subject to the parameters of truth. We don't always want truth. That's why lies work well when profitable. Yeah.
You're not wrong there.
These colors don't run, Christopher Columbus.
I was laughing at that too.
That's awesome. But the fact of the matter is, and the reason that I'm fascinated with this is because we really don't know, right? I've never been to Spain.
No.
But is Spain's version of this different?
Yeah.
Good question.
Yeah. So they.
I'm sure you could probably Google that one.
Yeah, I mean, in
not
the
that
history,
I'm advocating for staring at your phone, but I would think you would be able to pick.
That's
something.
not my phone. Never mind.
It is supposedly recorded that he requested finances from Queen Isabella. That is supposedly a factual thing that happened. Went and asked, "Hey, give me some boats, give me some Spaniards,
some gas money."
Yep. Give me some gas money, a boat, some supplies, and some Spaniards. We're gonna go out here and establish trade to India. That was
Jack Sparrow.
Yes,
Yeah.
right. I mean, he needed somebody to fund it, and there was a lot of people that were like, absolutely not. And why? Why would anybody not fund a hero looking to have these noble goals? Like, we're gonna enrich the people and establish trade. But a lot of people turned him down before he actually got his boats, his funding, and his crew. As is told by common history. So again, to your point, what truth is there in that? We're never really sure.
So here's another thought: was he a pirate or was he a politician?
Right.
Not to go into politics, but was he a politician? Was he taking over his new area? Right? Was he taking over his new state? He wanted his own state.
Yeah.
You vote for me.
Shannon says, wait, the question was serious? No, he didn't discover. He arrived. Right.
Right.
If there's already humans here,
yes,
then you didn't discover nothing.
I don't know if they considered indigenous people humans. They were indigenous.
It's like,
you know what I mean?
It's like, when we first moved out here back in the 90s, and one of the things we like to do because we are from Iowa is we like to just drive around because you were always in a city, and then all of a sudden we discovered Six Flags.
Right.
Like, whoa,
yeah,
that's right here.
Right.
But I mean, we arrived. We didn't discover.
Right. I mean, and depending on the context of the word, people have always said, I found a new house. We found a house in McHenry. Well, no, did you really find it? I guess you did, but it was already here. You found it for you. It was already here, and somebody was already living in that house, but I found it.
They found it, but they didn't found it.
One of Spain's greatest quotes, you think you know, but you have no idea. Bob Columbus, Chris's brother.
Good morning, by the way, Bob.
That's it. It would be more accurate that he conquered America.
That's 100% what it is. Yeah,
it was new to me.
What's that?
Right. It was new to me.
It was new to me. It was. I mean, hey, why not?
Yeah.
It's just once again, it's just like everything else.
Well, because
how you spin the words and how you tell the story, what it really means. I mean. There's no way in any way, shape, or form that even think about that as kids, that we didn't question that. He found it.
But now, here's what happens. We make him a pirate, and he arrived. And now, half of the United States, we can quit changing history. Don't take down his statue. You know what I mean? Are we changing it, or do we fully understand it now?
Right.
And from my perspective, being 16 years old, learning the truth after a lifetime of not knowing the truth.
Yep.
It's like, when was this common knowledge for everyone else? I don't know. Like, when did you learn the truth of Columbus?
And then, hey guys,
last week.
We're
having this conversation.
Yep. On a serious note, Eric's newest book is now available. Be Incredible Today, Hooligans: 52 Ways to Show Your Wife You Love Her. Good stuff.
Awesome.
And congratulations on that too, Eric. I got to get a copy of it. So
I take it you're happily married.
Whoa.
He's like, well, she left me last week,
I'm
but
just saying,
Look, hey,
here's the book.
hey, let me
I wrote a
tell
book
you.
about how I could have avoided that.
It didn't publish soon.
Eric is a great salesman, or he can lick his own eyebrow because he's got a beautiful wife. That's for sure.
Hey,
Hopefully
Hey.
beautiful inside.
you know what? I'm gonna say it has to do something with rhinestone pants.
Yeah.
I think we know that for sure.
But bedazzled. That's
We know what does it for the wife. I bet. Yeah, that's reason number 51.
That's right. That's the 50. That's the 53rd.
So it's a different way every week. You know, you cover the entire year. This
Yeah.
week you have to do
Brilliant.
this way you got to do that. You know,
Brilliant. And it's Pizza Friday, so of course.
Pizza.
That's it. But that's what I'm talking about is, you know, a lot of the history that we've been taught, right? A lot of the history that's been taught is one side of the coin.
Yeah.
It's never the other side of the coin,
Mhm.
right? We don't celebrate and recollect the natives' point of view.
Right.
Like all of a sudden, pale skin shows up with a lot of disease and gunpowder. That's or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, like this is crazy. Cool. He had huge boats. We got these little canoes made out of a papaya tree or whatever.
Right.
And all of a sudden, you got 40,000 people on a boat. You know,
Yeah.
it's a moving city at that point. We don't collect that information and say, hey, here's the adventure across the Atlantic. And he didn't bump into Fraggle Rock. He actually ended up down in the islands.
Yeah.
Right. And then obviously we don't talk about the trip from the islands to the Americas.
Right.
You know. But then all of a sudden we're like, oh, so it was cool. So we had turkey and stuffing and
Damn system. Who said this is what we need to teach?
I had the biggest, baddest buckle on my hat.
When it was all love and affection, having our good food,
I had
our
buckle
nice
and
meal. We broke bread together. No, we broke their necks because I wanted their legs.
yeah. Don says first chapter, reason 1. Yes, dear.
I think it's funny. So Shayna says 5th grade. I assume in response to when she learned the truth about Columbus. What's funny, Shayna, is I was just saying before we got on today, I played in 5th grade. I played King Ferdinand. I had this cool cape. It was awesome.
Nice.
A puffy hat,
Yeah.
big feather. And I told I basically told Columbus to go eat a bag of dicks. I was like, no, you're not getting my money. You're not getting my crew. I'm not funding you. Who the hell are you to walk into my castle here?
That's the story I wanted to be told.
And-
You just suck a bag of dicks.
Yeah.
And
Get out of here. And then he had to go find funding elsewhere. So what's funny is in that 5th grade play, I was the bad guy. Because I told Columbus I wasn't going to fund his expedition.
Right.
And at the time, like they were like, play it like a bad guy. I was like, okay, 5th grade.
Did you use a Spanish accent or
No. It was like
speak clearly.
It was a straight Chicago accent. Hey,
no, I was in 5th grade.
You gotta get out. You gotta get out of
No,
here.
it was like any movie made about Native Americans before like 1970. I just talked with a heavy New York accent and I was like, hey, forget about it.
Hey, now he's got a new moniker.
What are you thinking here?
Don says Slagle likes being king.
That's right. Hey,
It's good to be the king.
it's good to be the king.
Oh, no.
So Don says, what should we do with this information in 2024?
That's a great question.
Here's
My question is, why did they tell it that way? What was their ulterior motive to say it was this way? And who's the one that chose that? Right? Like when you teach a kid something, right? There's a story and there's a thought process. I think you're trying to instill in them. What were they doing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why did they lie to us?
yeah.
If this is allegedly how it really went down, why did they not give us the truth? Why, why is, they say always be honest, right? Love thy neighbor. Well, what the fuck? You're starting me out telling me something that's wrong and dishonest. So you're starting me already down the wrong path, because eventually I'm assuming most people will find these things out if they're really interested. And if you look at it, other people, honestly, I didn't really think twice about it until you guys brought it up. I'm going, all right, now I got to really think about it because what did they lie to me about and why? But
and why?
And me, right? And the why, right? For you and me is big, right? Like we're always like, why? Why did they do that? What is the reasoning behind it?
Yeah.
That's what makes me tick is the whys and the hows, right? Not necessarily exactly when or but so that's Shame.
Well, and what should we do with this info? I like the scientific approach, right? You got to peel the onion, and it takes a while to peel the onion, right? We may now unearth a document, right, that was buried somewhere, that sheds a little bit of light on this. So it's not that it changes, but I think, and part of age and wisdom is there's got to be more to the story, right?
Of course,
and it may take time to peel the layers back, right? I mean, polio, for example, is pretty much eradicated in the world right now because of all the scientific and medical advances.
Thank you, Jonas Salk.
Right? And the idea is, but it wasn't in the early 1900s. So as we unfold things, I think it's important to tell your children, there's more to the story and you need to find out. You need to ask. You need to be curious. And a lot of times, kids just aren't curious. It's like, all right, I got to take this test. I passed the test. Chris Columbus, whatever.
Well, right.
That's
right.
Whatever.
Like a lot of kids, it's like whatever. I'll just accept it and move on. They don't question everything, right? They think about it's not that important to them to where they go, I got to think about this.
And to your point, what was the incentive for them to do so?
And how does
if I'm getting an A for telling you what you want to hear, why would I bother to argue with you?
And why investigate it more? Because how is it or what's it going to change in my life?
Heather, good morning.
Which could be a big thing, right? But you don't know. But kids why waste my time? Can't change it.
Heather,
whatever.
Heather jumps in, says most of the natives died of diseases brought over by the men on the ships. In return, not intentionally, the natives inadvertently exported to Europe syphilis, hepatitis, encephalitis, polio, and TB. Or was that because we were having sex with monkeys and parrots on those ships, and each other on the way over? And then, but let's blame it on let's blame it on the brown people.
Yeah, the monkey's possible. The parrot, I don't think so.
Or the red people. I don't know what would color.
Right? Yeah,
the different.
Right.
And there's the difference there, obviously, as stated, being that we intentionally, or not we, but they intentionally spread smallpox blankets among the indigenous.
Yeah. When you go someplace, it is a common practice to give some type of gift, right? We gave them one, they gave us a ton more back, right? And so it's a really good reciprocation on their part.
It's like what they say, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Except for STDs.
Yeah, that shit follows you home.
That shit follows you home.
It wasn't a really good trade deal on our part,
Well, right, but that's why I say
the spices they were talking about.
That's why I say America is all about marketing. Right? I mean, look, back in the day, send us your tired, send us your weary. We're the land of the free, home of the brave. And now we're like, fucking put a wall around this thing and let's close it up.
Right.
Hey, don't send us that shit.
Like, that's enough. We're full up now.
Hey,
like a bouncer at a club with the velvet rope. It's like, come on in, ladies. No, not you guys.
Sorry. You're not on the list.
Right.
We're at the Underhills.
Right? Yeah. Absolutely. But that's the idea. Now, the fortunate thing with 4 kids and 3 of them are adults now for me, is I've always pushed them to be curious. I've always pushed them to look at the other side of the coin and then the edge of the coin, because the truth is somewhere on that coin, and it may be a mixture of the entire coin, but you've got to ask those questions. And I always say, if the teacher's telling you this, ask them what the converse of it is. And see what the teacher says. And if the teacher says,
the principal's office, in this
if the teacher says,
questioning me,
right? If they say that, you have to really go, something else is there.
Yeah.
Or they don't know. And it's okay for a teacher not to know.
But they won't say that. And I would be better. I'd be okay with that instead of I don't know. Instead, you don't need to know. Or, you just don't need to know, because that was usually a lot of the questions. And that's why for me, Kent, I mean, I'm sure you get this. I mean, I do question everything, right? To the point sometime where it's nauseating to people because I just don't understand. But back then I got shot down a lot in school.
What point did you talk to your kids about Columbus? Like when they came home in third grade and they were
tomorrow.
like, he's like, well, they're going to watch this.
Let me tell you, these thoughts I got today didn't come just over the last couple of weeks.
Well, right.
So
when your kids came home with homework about Columbus.
And I've said that because that's who I am. So how did he discover it if there are already people here?
Okay.
Right. And they go,
well, right. But those are things that, like,
So-
for me, when the kids are growing up as well.
So if I see and
Right.
that's what I would tell him. So if I all of a sudden discover the neighbor's house and I walk in and they're inside, did I discover their house?
Well, that's why I say really how
That depends. Can you overpower them?
The words that
Squatters' rights.
Well,
That's
that's why I say the words that they use and
Let me
their
grab a cup of
description of
coffee.
it could have been wrong.
Right.
Or how we interpret it, right? Because the same thing for me.
Yeah.
I found something, it's new to me, even though it was already there. The thing I think realistically they have to say that he discovered the land and found that it was already inhabited.
And as good Americans, as Shayna says, we silence ideas that pose a possible threat to egos, money, and power. 100 mile per gallon cars running on water are just some examples. Because because
that doesn't bring anybody enough money because water is
you don't have to frack for water,
right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
right, exactly, and that's why it went away. And
you're going to fill up your vehicle with your garden hose? No, I have to get bottled water because garden hose is no good.
When that
government doesn't want us to, because then all there'd be left to drink is beer.
Right. Well, think about
and then the world.
You think about that when the hydrogen car does come out, right?
Yeah,
you can't have a well anymore. You have to be on city water, right? Because they can't.
It could be
for a well.
It could be,
or you're in electrical.
And again, we won't. We won't bring up the people who've already created that engine and have
are no longer on part of our
can
society.
be found. Right. Yes.
Right. Yeah. No. It's there, and that is the cleanest, best technology. But it doesn't pose a lot of cash for people.
No,
they haven't figured out a way to sell water.
Correct.
So,
and that's the same thing. Now, again, what we miss is how did we go from Spain finding us, and all of a sudden we're fighting the Brits for this land?
Right.
Yeah. What happened? We don't talk about that in school. Like we go from Thanksgiving to the Independence Day, but we don't. We're like, wait a minute. But we were fighting Britain. What? Right? What happened in there? How did Britain muscle out Spain? And or is it that we forgot the guy's name from the UK that sailed the boat over here and found and discovered America?
Yeah, settled in the new colony.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
you tell me, right? And again, it was settlers, or were they all criminals? And they're like, you're on a boat.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Right. Yeah. Here's your jail. You have a boat.
Yeah.
There's nothing else out there to find. See how long you last.
Australia style. We're just
That'd be a hell of a thought there too, right? Like they just ousted, right? Like you're out of here.
Yeah.
You have a ship. If you can make it last and you can make it work, great. But you ain't coming back to our land.
Right. The inventor of the water powered engine is with Jeffrey Epstein.
I thought for sure that was going to come out of my dad.
Yeah.
My dad was going to give us.
Were you aware that the patent office can take your submission from you if it's something that may threaten national security? Yes. Anything that threatens national security, take it with you, and you'll be questioned.
Won't pay you for it.
You'll be questioned in a room that's black padded. Oh, never
mind. This room is black and padded.
Wait a minute.
Don't question us here.
That's right.
Really good to hear coming from you,
gentlemen.
From deep in the hole.
That's right. A black site.
Crystal Lake.
That's right. A black site. Black ops site. That's
black ops site.
But so it is. It's always been to me, very, very, very interesting. And again, the entire premise of the the Constitution, the entire premise of what this great nation was formed on was on. All right. Well, the Native Americans were dumb and stupid and uneducated, and we had to fight for freedom from Britain because. And here's what came about of it. Right. We won this land and go, we're not using the metric system, you guys.
Yeah. We want to use something different.
right?
And yet still used a system of measurement based off of the king's foot. So there you go.
Right. That's
That's
right.
Right. Well, the one thing that I did like that you were kind of talking about earlier, we were talking about the why thing is, and I think we talk about this not enough with our kids or even just everybody, is keeping that curiosity, right? And instilling that curiosity in schools. A lot of times you would broach on subjects and you'd get interested, right? And you'd really want to look into things and question it and get that information. I don't know if I really see that today, right? Like the zest for, the defining the, I'm going to say defining the truth or whatever. I mean, and that's what for me, one of the things I know that you did too in my kids, I just literally tried to instill that curiosity into them, not to just accept an answer from somebody and really dig deep into it, not go, well, they're a teacher, I'm going to accept what they say. Well, you can to a certain point, but question it for yourself, like be an individual and look into these things, and you can change. And I mean, look at this subject, something that was just, okay, thanks for telling me, Teach.
Don says, I would love to see us as Americans focus on the goal of a more perfect union. Idealistic, I realize. Well, we can if you go to this link and get the book. Incredible Today, Hooligans: 52 Ways to Show Your Wife You Love Her. Then that'll create a better,
a more perfect union.
Right,
a more perfect union at your home, at least. Yeah,
that's how we make the circle here. That's it. And Heather says, I've been Googling like crazy since the show started. That's better than what I'm doing.
What did you come up with?
Yeah, right.
Please share. I want to know what else they lied to me about.
Of course.
So the Easter Bunny's probably not real either, right?
Well, since when? What are you talking about?
Shouldn't it be an Easter snake because snakes actually lay eggs?
Or a chicken.
Or a chicken.
Chicken, yeah.
I feel like a chicken is a more approachable,
I hate chickens, man.
Yeah, I mean,
you hate chickens?
Yeah, I'll tell you the story later.
Okay.
He doesn't like birds.
I don't like birds because of chickens.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
They liked his cologne one day. Just would not leave his ass alone.
Yeah. As long as
not laughing at you because
snakes are cool.
But let's go back. Snakes, I mean, cool. in all honesty, we don't, as much as we sit here and say what's the real truth, we don't. It's like the movie. You can't handle the truth.
Yeah,
maybe.
And so if it were to change now, oh boy, we're rewriting history. You know what I mean? We would throw everything. Oh, you can't. What? Right?
Yeah. Slippery slope. Everything's just going downhill.
And so for eternity now, or for as long as I'm probably alive, Christopher Columbus still a hero, still a major discovery.
Yeah,
right. He's a great guy. But we're talking about 1492. There's no vehicles. Boats are your vehicle.
Like I said, that's a vehicle.
Right, boats are your. Maybe you have a big one of those big wheel tire bicycles. I don't know, right? But they're how do they even know India exists?
Yeah,
that's a long walk from Spain.
It is, but more easily travelable than the Americas.
Well, you got to go down and around another continent. I mean, you don't know that in 1492.
How do you know? They had boats. That's how they got around in all the water. I mean, they had probably already been there.
No. Why would you think that? The world was flat in 1492.
I wasn't there, and I know that a lot of things are lies. So why is
it
plausible
the world was flat in 1492?
And they knew it was there. And
you didn't go over the horizon. It was like, I don't know what's out there.
Well, that's what they tell. Now that's what they tell us. And what do you believe? I mean, who knows? That could have been everyone getting around by boats back then, and it wasn't that big a deal. I mean, for them on a boat. I mean, think about before the people walking on land.
Heather saying in her Googling is that Columbus wasn't as good or bad as he's portrayed.
I would like to know based off of what, not as bad as what. I mean, the genocide happened. That's a fact. There's documents.
Yeah.
There's documented occurrences from his crew that still exist in museums today. Written ledgers of Columbus giving away 11-year-old girls as basically toys to his sailors. I mean, based off of what, is he not as bad as he's portrayed? That's pretty bad, and that's documented in history.
Well, let's look at it this way, though. That's considered bad on today's standards. Back then, that was just normal
for a pirate.
Right.
Well,
here's the thing, but back then,
If you know what I mean.
Right. Back then, that was normal. Right. Today, it's not because we've evolved, and it's understandable. But
So the best part of the trips around India had to add hops to the beer to keep it fresh, and boom, IPAs were born.
I'm sure there's a lot of people out there thanking Columbus for something different now.
Yeah.
That long journey.
Well, Heather says, but we have the ability to look it all up today too. Do we? We have the ability to look up what is available to us.
Right. I was going to say, and what they potentially want.
Right, but hey, look, that when we grew up, not you, you're young. When Scott and I grew up, what was in the Encyclopedia Britannica was gospel. We didn't question that.
There's no other thing to look at.
But now you go, wait a minute.
Who wrote that book? Who wrote that book and why?
I think it's funny because while I was in school, so this is a difference in age, right? So Wikipedia became more accurate than the Encyclopedia Britannica in 2008. That's when they officially said Wikipedia, because it's constantly updated and monitored,
print,
is that it is officially that's when they were like, because when I was in high school, they're like, don't Wikipedia stuff, it's not real. The encyclopedia,
you don't know who's putting that in,
right? And they were like, you can't cite it as a source for a paper. Now, then in 2008, they were like, okay, like if you can make a strong enough argument, and it can't be your primary source, but you can use it as a source because of the accuracy of it. And it's like, okay. Yeah,
that's when all the dictionary salesmen decided to change jobs, right?
Right.
Wikipedia, shit.
Cut code knives now. That's
Cutco. Yeah. Slices, dices.
Yeah.
Never needs
I think.
How do you feel about vacuums?
Last one you'll ever have to buy.
The Electrolux.
That's it.
The Kirby. Paint your house.
I've got
house with your vacuum.
I've got a Kirby.
Something I just like. I want to make the best vacuum ever. I want it to paint your house. I want it to run power tools. It's like...
Don says, I'm more comfortable saying I don't really know the truth about Columbus than to say he was good or bad. Interesting to learn about, but does not change anything for me in 2024. Well, listen, yes, anything that you truly want to believe in, there's a lot of chapters missing, right? Again, we don't know the full story. People, and listen, this is my opinion, but this is going to cause a little riff here, right? So just buckle up and enjoy this ride.
Hold on.
We several of us follow and worship a man who we lose a lot of the life between age 12 and age 30, right? We love Jesus. I'm a Christian. I am. I love his teachings. But what happened to 18 years of his life? Why isn't that documented? You understand what I'm saying?
Rumspringer,
right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a great valid point. And we do talk religion sometimes on this show.
Again, we love George Washington.
Yeah.
But we kind of gloss over the fact that George Washington every 6 months would take, because he was in the North and there weren't slaves, would take his staff below the Mason-Dixon line, because at that time, once they were down there again for a few weeks, they came back up and were not free. That's the way it was. But again, we don't necessarily go, oh, there's pieces missing, right? In there, throughout history, because we choose the good story. We choose,
of course. And a lot of people aren't necessarily. They're going to choose the good, and they're not wanting to actually. Some people don't want to get to the truth, right? All right, that's what they told me. I'm just going to believe it and move on.
John Rambo killed a lot of people in a small town,
right?
But they drew first blood,
right?
And
but we love Rambo.
Right. A lot of what's in these history books when you learn as a kid is child friendly. They soften it up. They round out the edges. They aren't trying to instill like a sense of fear. They're trying to, how did America start? Well, you're teaching children about the founding of America. You're not going to be like, well, Columbus came in and he raped and murdered all these people. And now we're here. Because then imagine your first grade class being like, what?
Right.
What does that even mean?
It was consensual.
It's consensual.
Hey, I'm going to, I'll show you how.
Oh,
Never
no.
mind. I'm sorry.
Oh no.
We need to get him on.
It's
I know you can hear it in the inflection in your voice. But just...
I'm sorry. That's bad right there. They're starving kids in Ethiopia. Speaking of Ethiopia, Shayna says, oh, this is all probably documented somewhere, probably like Ethiopia. Right. There's somebody who's got it right.
Yeah.
And we've decided, attorneys do it all the time. Where's that document? They buried it. You know what I mean?
It's in Mar-a-Lago.
It's somewhere, right? And Don says, I think as people generally, we fill in gaps with negative more than positive.
It's the human nature.
For ourselves, maybe, but
Right.
like when you're tailoring something for somebody else, I feel like we tend to put a more positive spin on things.
But are you trying to tell the truth? Are you trying to make it exciting and inviting? Right? I mean, because how you dress
the story of Pocahontas.
Yeah.
She was a child.
How'd she get her name?
She was
Pocahontas. It's not Pocahontas. It's Pocahontas.
But she was a
Right.
child.
No.
He was not.
No, he was not.
Right. So, I mean, again, we glorify and we create what fits the narrative or what we want, what we want to fit the narrative.
Right.
Right.
And that's the thing. It's tailoring exactly what you want.
What makes the better story.
Right. What makes the better story and what's going to keep you, I'm going to say, cohesive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't want to say.
Thanks, Heather. Have a great day.
Thanks for tuning in, Heather. We love you. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
appreciate you.
Especially today with social media, Don says.
Right.
Yeah.
And thank you for tuning in on social media.
Yeah.
But truthfully, there's right. There's so much because of the way we had to pass down stories. Right. We didn't have the internet back when Christ walked the earth. We didn't have the internet when Christopher Columbus was sailing. We didn't even have a map.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, we were like, wow.
Well, no, we had a map. It's like go left around the giant squiggly sea monster, past where it says abandon all hope, and then
before you turn and fall off the edge of the earth,
and then make a right at the edge of the earth. Yeah,
but
it was all in their brains back then.
You know what I mean?
So
there's a lot, that has been probably written and documented, but lost or I mean, take a look at anybody who's old enough. Take a look at the heat. Remember the fax machines when it was
paper,
heat printed. Well, that eventually disappeared over time.
We still have cash register receipts that do that. 6 months,
right? They fade out.
Oh, hold your receipt for for your warranty. Oh wait, it's faded. Sorry,
right?
Can't do it.
I put that on a papaya leaf. What? I had to start a fire. I was cold.
We quit using papaya that faded out to it, so we went to the elm trees. Sturdier.
Shana says, check out Chase Hughes and how the pros influence undetected using psychological needs. I don't know who. I will have to. I don't know who Chase Hughes is.
How the pros influence undetected. The pros mean like pro athletes?
No, social media pros, I would assume.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I truly think that Columbus was a pirate. I think he was, Hagar the Horrible or a Viking or whatever, right? It was, we called them Vikings, again, a pirate, but we raped, we pillaged, we went and we took perfume and gold and silk and whatever else we could get our hands on.
And here's the thing, if you want to look at it,
and we called it trade.
If you want to look at it from cultural relativity,
from your house to my house.
Right.
If you want to look at it from the perspective of cultural relativism, right? Of it was a different time, different things were acceptable. That's totally fine. And not to disagree with my mom's 5 minutes of Googling here, but the facts don't really lie about the situation. Yeah, that's my mom.
Okay.
Yeah. That's why.
Morning, Mom. I understand. I'll just leave it at that. I understand. That's the end. I get it.
Yeah. But not to disagree with her cursory Google search, the fact that she can barely use Google, notwithstanding. We're
tough words to mom. Can barely use Google.
I just taught her, so bear with me on that one. Social media, same.
Maybe she's not a good typer.
Spent quite a bit of time on that one.
Just talk to it.
But
she's not a good talker.
She's got a lisp. It throws everything off.
It does. She's always ending up on some weird Jamaican porn site. It's
QP
Welcome
the fact
back,
that
Heather.
she bookmarked it 5 times is irrelevant.
Right. Welcome back, Heather.
but no, I mean, because no matter what perspective you look at it from, you have to say pirate. And you made the point before I got a chance to even say it myself or think it. Vikings, 100%, great example.
Yeah.
Great example. Again, same time. They're going to the coast of England and taking the redheads and the blondes and taking them back and using them in the exact same way as Columbus used the indigenous people, right about the same time in world history. And
Yet we allow a football team to be called the Vikings.
We
can't be the Redskins
maybe for
anymore.
a few more years.
We can't be the Redskins.
And culturally,
But
it was appropriate,
right?
But doesn't
Viking is
make
what
the
they do, it's
facts
not who
any
they
different
are,
than it
though,
was.
isn't right? Isn't a Viking who they are, not what they do? Or Viking is what they do, not who they are.
Is that the sport? Are we talking about the sports teams or the
no, the Viking, right?
like the Norse?
Right.
Okay.
Right. I mean, an Indian is that's their color of their skin, like the what was the team? The Washington Redskins, right?
Yeah.
That was they can't change their color, but a Viking not necessarily isn't a rape or a pillager type of thing. I mean, you get where I'm coming at with that one or no?
And there are a lot of a lot of people throughout history.
Am I describing that right to you though? I mean, does that make sense? My question.
Sure,
okay. Well, I just sometimes I get a little bit twisted on how I'm approaching it. So,
but yeah, I mean, so the Vikings and similar with conquistadors and others had a religion that entitled them to the things that they took.
Right.
Odin said that if you can physically take it, then it is yours.
Right.
It is yours. That was even among Vikings. It wasn't just like go to a strange land, take that person's stuff. In their culture, you could walk up to your neighbor and be like, hey, you got a really cool farm. How about this? I'm a trained soldier and you're a farmer. I'm going to just cut you in half.
Give me your land or I'll kill you.
Right.
What do you think?
That's exactly
I'll
it.
See you later. Enjoy the land.
You were allowed to issue a challenge to your neighbor exactly like that. Like, hey, what's the term? A holmgang. Holmgang is the term. It was a ceremonial battle, but you could just try.
Like something out of
but
China.
you could just be like, hey, I challenge you, and I'm going to take your wife and your farm, and you didn't really have anything you could do about it. It was like, cool, the stronger have the ability to do that.
I would like to go back to those days. Knock on your neighbor's door, be like, I'd like to challenge you.
Shayna says, that's just the culture here after the Younger Dryas. I get the impression we are some board game that ends from time to time. Who knows? Yeah.
Who knows? That a good? Who knows?
Right?
But we might not ever.
But that's what I mean. And now there's a TV show about Vikings, and we think it's cool. Hagar the Horrible. Hey.
There's a TV show out there.
Oh yeah. And again, if you look at what it actually is, but it's cool now, right? It's same thing. It's The Sopranos, right? One of the best series ever made.
Great.
And it was about the mafia killing people.
Yeah. 100%.
Being Vikings.
Well,
basically being Vikings.
Not even necessarily just about them killing people, just the whole inner workings of the mafia.
Well, that's what I mean.
And what they went through. I mean, which is something you would never. I love the part because they actually humanized the head. You know what I mean? Tony, they humanize him. Yeah. Oh, I'm so fucked up in the head. Yeah. I kill people every day, but I still have morals and a conscience. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it was messing with him. So he got back what he deserved for the shit he was doing.
Yeah. This is a great point, Don. Right? Hey, back then it was about conquering land, right? It was about taking land. Russia's trying to do that now. We don't like that.
So since the beginning of time, you have to take land by force, 100%. And 100%. That's an excellent point. Is that we still do that today?
You don't need a force. You just need a mortgage to take land.
Right. But this is the truth, right? Is all of a sudden there's, or we take a look at Israel and Iran, whatever. And all of a sudden it's like, this isn't right. Really? This is risk. This is the game of risk.
Yep.
That's how risk actually came about, right? And I've got more troops in my little plot, and let's go to war.
Yeah.
Right?
My army can beat your army, so now I take this island, and you don't have it anymore.
Right. And
I want to see what you're made of.
Yeah.
Right. And all of a sudden, Putin discovers Ukraine. But we think that that's bad.
Yep.
Right.
He didn't find it though. He used the correct terminology.
He discovered it. Right.
Hey, I just didn't know it was there, but now I know it's here. I want this.
And this is how it always comes back to history is told by the victors. You're never hearing that. Oh, we were victimized out of land. It's it's hey, we we discovered this new land and set it up, And
Yeah.
it's like, well, that's because that was told by the person who won, not the person who
Right,
lost.
the person that lost is screaming, "Hey, I need some freaking payback."
I think instead of going to the moon, we should send astronauts into Chernobyl and take a look at what has grown and got 5 eyes and weird things in that area.
Yeah. I mean, certainly. Didn't they just reopen parts of it?
Yeah.
I'm personally not heading over there anytime soon.
No.
Now, you couldn't pay me enough because we don't know what's over there.
That's what I'm saying.
That would make a new series. That would make a really good new series.
They made a horror
Chernobyl,
movie.
the aftermath.
They made a horror movie called Chernobyl, and it was terrifying about exactly what you said. What might have grown there or evolved
that whole
there.
thing that happened, what they told us they wanted us to believe was what they told us, but what really happened is the guy just forgot to turn the light switch off.
Hey, you know what? They lost the flag on the moon. Nobody can seem to find that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But disintegrated after all these years, dude.
Of course.
How is it going to be there for that long? That's a violent environment.
Yeah, space dust.
Space dust.
It's like razor blades.
No gravity.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the moon's light really degrades things.
Mm-hmm. Quick must.
And that that white cheese has got a really aroma that just pops right.
I do like white cheddar. White cheddar popcorn is one of my favorites.
White ched.
Yeah. Somebody's making bank. Yeah. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we can't be afraid to call it what it is. Right.
Yeah.
We don't want our kids to grow up raping, pillaging, right?
Right.
We consider ourselves a little bit more civil, gangs. Anyway, the idea is that, in 5th grade, we don't want you to go, hey, listen, little Steve, we're going to have you play this king. And by the way, that king really had concubines. So Julie, Sally,
strip down and grab an arm. First of all, every parent would have came to see that play instead of just like the 4 that showed up.
Right.
Would have made it a lot more interesting.
Yeah.
But
hey, Mom, guess who I am?
But yeah, I think
I'm the concubine.
We always try to become a little bit better than we were before.
Yeah.
Part of trying to learn from history is to not repeat the mistakes of history.
Right.
So we don't want to teach children that it's okay to seize somebody else's property. That's the opposite of what we try to teach children, to share and get along, because we're teaching them ideals that we
Everybody's
know
a winner.
haven't that may be a little too idealistic.
Yeah.
As Don said earlier, to create the more perfect union, it is an idealistic concept, but it is something that we do when we have kids. And
so Don says, there's not a country on earth that I know of that is 100% clean and innocent. We have to do better. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
100%.
But we as Americans have that opportunity to really dig deeper into things. And I
don't know. What's wrong with Canada?
Canada, socialized medicine, and
Canada.
There's something wrong with every one.
I think they're
every
pure.
one of our states, every one of our countries.
I think they're clean and innocent.
Just choose, right. Just choose which one works best for you.
For what reason? Listen. This is what I love about this entire topic and this conversation. I'm like, all right, we're about halfway through. We're an hour in already. We've gone over our time, and I'm like, "Holy crap!"
And
right,
and that's when that's when you truly know it's a good subject, because you totally lose track of time, and it's something that just.
I didn't
resonates.
hear about the psycho dogs in Elgin. I didn't hear about that. Yeah,
don't want to hear about psycho dogs today.
Oh,
Trudeau. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
But it's good stuff like this when you pose those questions of something that is just a simple childhood lesson, at least so you think.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Right? And so does that start your mindset? Does that start your mindset? So when I hear that stuff, for me, first thing is like, what the fuck else did they not tell me?
Yeah, right? What else should I dig deeper on?
What else should I dig deeper on?
Without a direction, how are you going to dig
I don't
deeper,
feel, Right. Well, for me, growing up, I felt like I was stifled on the, on wanting to and being encouraged to look into something I didn't believe. Right. And that's kind of why. Don't worry, because we said so. Yeah, that was an answer you always got. Why can't I do it? Because I said so.
I got that from so many teachers.
Right?
Chapter 3.
You're the child. Not that my parents did this one, but I'm the parent. You're the adult because I said so. Or I'm your teacher because I said so.
Yeah.
Well, then it's just like, well, no.
Well, see, so just like you, my parents had taught me, my mom taught me to question things, to ask why.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how many teachers I had that did exactly that because I said so, because everyone knows that to be true. But how did they know it? Like, did specifically there was one book where I believe it was Catcher in the Rye, where a kid named James Castle jumps out the window and Holden Caulfield sees it and he was contemplating suicide and he's like, this guy did it. Look how ugly he is on the ground, all beat up and bloody. Like, I don't want to be that guy, and decides not to. And my teacher was like, well, James Castle, JC, he died. Holden lived. Jesus Christ. And I was like, that's really cool if true. How do you know that? And he's like, it just is. Everyone knows that. Right. But did the author say so, or did you infer it, or did somebody else infer it? Like, how do you know? And he's like, it just is. And I'm like, right. But without like how, I just want to know how you know. And he sent me to the office and I was like, what?
Right, you were being disrespectful.
I just want to know how we know this.
Shayna, I'm that guy too.
Yeah.
I'm that. She's I asked a nun how she knew Jesus was white. Yep.
I got in tons of trouble because I was always, I just wanted to know why. You know what I mean? It was, I don't remember how it came to me. I don't remember, honestly, if my parents were that way with everything. But
so here, and Don says not a lot of white people around the area at that time. One word I'll say, transfiguration. Anyway, if going to dig into lies, I think plenty to dig in today without even going back hundreds of years.
Oh, no.
Yeah, Don's right there. There's enough to sift through.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
What? Wait, I don't feel like that needed the sprinkle, but okay. I'm going to sprinkle that on there.
Hey,
I need more coffee.
In today's world, you just don't know. So if you say allegedly, it just takes and turns the bots right off.
That's it.
So stop listening allegedly.
I don't
you
think
guys are idiots allegedly.
I don't think Columbus is going to sue me, so I don't feel like I need the allegedly sprinkled in there.
But you don't know if his relatives might, because
listen. We could talk about this for hours. I absolutely love this conversation. It's a great conversation. It's one that makes you think and opens your eyes a bit, and you go, wait a minute. But at the same time, here's the other thing that I'll leave you with. Coming from heading west was Columbus. Heading east was, understand what I'm saying? Somebody from China and or Japan or Australia, right?
Yeah.
Couldn't they have been floating at the same time and went to the West Coast and
maybe they did, but their ships didn't make it.
Or maybe they did, and because we love the European version better because they look more like us.
Pick and choose.
Funny enough about that, if you watch the new show Shogun, which is out right now, they actually get into the settling of Japan, the reaching of Japan by Portuguese Catholics and Spanish Protestants, and how they are vying for control of this new exotic land with numerous resources to trade. And it's all based off of historical events that actually happened. Well, obviously, cinematically told.
Happened,
But so far, I've only seen 2 episodes so far, pretty accurate to how the time was. So I was like, that's pretty cool.
Let me just leave us with this today. I just want to thank Christopher Columbus, whether he was a pirate or a discoverer,
that's right,
or a founder, because God bless freaking America.
That's
I'm here. It's our country. We got problems, but you know what? Everybody does. And if we can just get up every day and keep rolling when we get knocked down,
that's it, baby.
God bless him for that. Right. Thank you very much. And the fact that we get to go to air shows. That's it.
That's it.
I think Don said, I think Don hit the nail on the head for the theme of today, which is it doesn't affect us now. The only thing we can do is try to do better moving forward. Always. That's what we always have. Be better tomorrow than we were today.
That's it.
That's the name of the game, baby. Say it every day, man. And go out today and be the champ.
Hey, you know what? And this is the perfect time for this because tune into the Olympics. Everybody pulls for America in the Olympics. Right. Who are Americans? For our friends across the world, you cheer for your country, and I'm okay with that. But this always kind of unites us until there's a scandal. Stay tuned.
Gives us something positive to talk about. Did you see that triple dipple flip pop bit and all this crazy shit?
Triple Lundy.
Back to school, baby.
That's it.
That move has been banned.
I certainly do appreciate you all. You guys give us a stage here to talk and just be guys and talk about stuff that, is stuff really that people don't want to talk about because they can't have discussions anymore.
And
it's
Shayna,
all arguments.
Shayna and Heather, thank you for bringing a level head to to these
Heather,
idiots.
Thank you for raising, and Heather, thank you for raising this child over here.
That's right.
I apologize. I guess maybe in so many ways I get where you've been.
Oh, she's heard that before.
That's it. Hey, listen. Again, thank you, everyone. And stick around. We got more to come. We'll figure it out from there.
Yeah. And thanks again to JH Flowers and Events and Natural Therapy Wellness, guys. Please go out there, check them out, use them. They're wonderful. People
get a
been
hot
around
stone
forever.
massage.
Get a hot stone massage. Get stoned and get a hot massage. Whichever you prefer.
Whatever you want to do.
Thanks again for tuning in, guys. We love you. Appreciate you. See you next week.